Welcome to the LA City Boys Basketball Podcast, Week 1 of the playoffs. Alex Scar, Connor Morissette. Playoff time, Alex. So exciting.
Cannot wait for Friday. We get a full slate of Open Division games, a full slate of Division 1 games. The girls are playing. We got 7 divisions of basketball to talk about. So many great games. Can't wait to get started.
Yeah, so let's get into what happened at the end of the regular season before we touch on some of these playoff matchups. Of course, we got the Dunk of the Week, as well as some game balls that we'll get to. But the end of the regular season. So the first game, we were both there, Fairfax, Westchester. Got to talk about that. Keith Dinwiddie's epic 34-point performance to sweep Westchester for Fairfax in the regular season. Who saw that coming? I know I didn't, but Fairfax, they're on another level right now, and they're the number 1 seed in the whole LA City section in the Open Division.
Yeah, Fairfax, Westchester, we had the arguments by ourselves. Who's number 1, who's number 2? We thought Westchester might be a sniff better. I'm going to pat my own back. I had Fairfax number 1.
He did.
But offensively, when we saw these two teams face each other, I thought Fairfax was on a different level. We all know about Kalen Allen at Westchester. Jordan Brinson's having a fantastic year, but wow. Keith Dinwiddie and Fairfax, they both raced him in that second game. We had a post-game show afterwards. You talked with Keith. I talked with Ethan Anderson, one of their senior guards. And they basically said, man, we were hungry for this win because they haven't beaten Westchester. They haven't had that Western League title. Now they finally get it. They're the number 1 overall seed in the Open Division. And shock and surprise, they're our favorite to win this whole thing.
Yep, certainly. Moving on, controversy of Birmingham, Alex.
Yeah.
Granada Hills and Birmingham, they played that final day of the regular season in the city section. That was a Friday. Birmingham walks away with a 64-62 win after one player hit some clutch free throws. But Jack Paulin, our friend who used to work for the Daily News, tweeted at us, and there's a video. The guy who was fouled for Birmingham didn't end up shooting the free throws, and it was a different player, and that player made them both. We're not here to throw anyone under the bus. We got to call it like we see it, and that, at least to me, looked like some malpractice, and I didn't like to see that because clearly, you get fouled, you go to the line.
Yeah.
And you could see, you made this point earlier, the kid's kind of stalling. It just looked kind of sketchy, and, that makes me think a little bit less of Birmingham just because it's not honorable. It's cheating.
Yeah, it's a bad look, and when a kid gets fouled, he goes to the line, unless there's something else in play, or maybe he doesn't. And even if this just happened to be a kid had a brain fart, and the other guy took the free throws, and it really was just, the slim chance that it was, an accident.
Yeah, maybe, I guess there was a chance the
right.
refs, they were the ones who made the mistake. The kid maybe thought it was fouled, but if you watch the video, it's
pretty blatant. And regardless, this is a bad look for Birmingham. Because if you remember, we talked about it last week, the game against El Camino Real, Elko thought they didn't correctly count the score, and it should have been a tie game. Instead, Birmingham goes down and they win by 2 points. So that was already kind of adding fuel to the fire, and now we've got the Granada Hills thing where the kid should have been taking free throws. All of a sudden, it's his teammate. You get fouled, you go to the line. You know that that's supposed to be the case. Regardless of what happened, who gave the directive, if anybody actually did, this is a bad look for Birmingham. And regardless of what happens, I think people might remember this.
Yeah, and Birmingham still would have won the league if they had lost because they would have had the tiebreaker over Taft. They would have been co-champions. Technically, I think it would have gone down like that. But they still would have been at the top. For Granada Hills, if they win, maybe that propels them ahead of Narbonne into the Open Division. And you can make the argument they would rather be the 1 seed in Division 1. Of course, that's much better than being 8. But it's always great to get in that Open Division, and maybe that loss cost them there. So it's a big kind of what if, and I'm not sure if the city section is going to look at it. I'm not sure what they could do, but I think we're in agreement there. We're not out here to make any enemies or anything like that, but just a bad look overall.
Yeah, and I think there's nothing really they would do because as it is, everything kind of worked out fine,
exactly.
Right? It ended up being exactly how you wanted. If this were a game that decided who makes open and who doesn't, if it's really that big of a stakes, maybe they go back and change it. But like we said, Birmingham, we're going to talk about their game against Gardena here in a second. They're one of the best teams in the Open, and Granada Hills has a great shot to win Division 1. Maybe this just becomes water under the bridge in a couple of weeks. Nobody remembers, but you do wonder.
Yeah, and watching Eric Sondheimer's video on YouTube, he thinks Birmingham has an outside shot at winning the whole thing. They're a little young, but he's that third team that they mentioned. They are the 3 seed, but that might be selling Taft and Washington Prep a little short, but Eric likes Birmingham a lot, so we'll be on the lookout for their game. You mentioned they play Gardena, and then we'll see what happens if they're able to beat them. So the Open Division seeds after that Birmingham game, they're exactly what we expected.
Right.
We've kind of been on that from the beginning, so we'll get into those matchups. But I think overall, we can have some gripes about seeds in D1, which we'll get to in a little bit, but I think they got the Open Division seeds perfectly right.
Yeah, Open Division exactly right. I think 1 and 2 in Division 1 is also exactly right. Now, we would have had El Camino Real 6 and Gardena 7 had the league issues not come into play, but because that they couldn't play league opponents in the first round, Birmingham and Elko drops to 6, Elko drops to 7, Gardena up to 6. Yeah, these seeds are exactly right, exactly what we thought. They give us a couple of enticing first-round matchups. I think Taft, Washington Prep, that's on our games to watch. Birmingham, Gardena, maybe not so much. Westchester, El Camino Real. I think that's a little sneaky. Westchester's kind of gotten beaten up a little bit by Fairfax. I really like Elko. I think Westchester wins this game, but I think the margin will be a little bit closer than you might expect.
Lastly, in Division 1, we've seen a lot on Twitter. The Coliseum League, they felt like they were disrespected. We had Crenshaw at 6, Dorsey at 9, View Park at 12.
Fremont at 7.
Fremont at 7, yeah, I skipped over them. And I know Coach Waters at Crenshaw wasn't happy with the 6 seed, and I think he has a bit of an argument because the Western League was clearly prioritized. Pally, they're number 4, Uni 3. Uni lost a game to Van Nuys, who is 10, I believe.
The 10 seed, yeah.
So there were some issues there, but I think pretty obvious that Fairfax and Westchester's dominance helped University and Pally. That kind of helped the RPI, if you will. So that bumps them above the Coliseum League teams. And the Coliseum League was a bloodbath all year. I think Crenshaw, the fact that they were able to win that league outright, deserved a little bit more respect because we've talked about it all year. Overall, the league is down, but still some really solid teams. I expect View Park to make a great run in this tournament. We each really like Fremont. In terms of Division 1, I think the Coliseum League was sold a little bit short. None of those teams were ever going to make the Open Division, but in this playoff bracket, I think they could have had some better seats.
No, I definitely agree with that. I think Crenshaw should have been bumped up a little bit. I thought Fremont had a chance to be a 3 seed.
Yeah.
Losing to View Park at the end of the season, that hurt them a lot, but View Park got the 12 seed, so it's not like they prioritized View Park at all. Sylmar got the 5, which I thought was a little bit high.
Exactly, that was a mistake as well.
So I think there were just a few of these teams that we didn't pay a lot of attention to all year, and then you look at the bracket at the end of the season, and you're like, wait a minute, kind of scratching your head. Why is Crenshaw 6? Why is Fremont 7? Why do you have View Park at 12? And then, you talk about Dorsey, they're a 9 seed. They're playing Grant in the first round. That's going to be a really good game. So all of these teams getting an immediate tough draw. We talk about Fremont. They get Van Nuys in the first round. You've got Crenshaw playing Cleveland, and I think they're going to win that game, but Cleveland's not really a slouch of a team. All of these teams getting really, really tough first-round matchups. Then into the second round, let's say Fremont beats Van Nuys, bam, they get King Drew, right? That's one of the best teams here. That's going to be a great game. But all right out of the gate, they're getting really, really tough matchups. But, the kind of cliche goes, win the game you're in. There's nothing you can do at this point. Coliseum League got job, maybe a little bit on the seeds, but other than that, just go play basketball.
Okay, let's talk about some of these playoff matchups. Open Division, we want to hit on every game. You mentioned El Camino Real and the Westchester game, so that's the 7-2. Quickly, Fairfax and Narbonne. I sat next to the Narbonne coach at Fairfax Westchester, Coach Hilliard, and he was doing a little scouting, but I think he kind of understands the writing's on the wall. It's a tough game. I don't really give Narbonne a chance in that one just because Fairfax, they're the class of the section this year.
Yeah, Fairfax by 30, unfortunately. I think Narbonne, they got a good team, but they got the tough draw. Everybody talks about getting the 8 in the Open Division, whether it's football or it's basketball. Really, really tough draw. I think some of the other games, or other sports rather, maybe you have more of a shot. There's not quite the disparity in talent, but Fairfax far and away, them and Westchester, the two best teams. Narbonne's going to have a really hard time.
El Camino Real against Westchester on the road. The question is Westchester, they're down because they've lost both games to Fairfax. Is that going to motivate them, and are they going to come out hot and really bring it to El Camino Real, or are they still kind of down in the dumps a little bit? That's the question I have. I think we're both going to take Westchester, but El Camino Real, I think they played in the first round of the Open Division a year ago, and Eddie Egan kept them in that game with Westchester. We'll see if they're able to do that. It was either Westchester or Fairfax.
Yeah, Ed Azam, he's not going to let his team take a night off. There's no way that they're going to go into this game feeling sorry for themselves or feel like they should have deserved a 1 seed or anything like that. The question here is, for El Camino Real, can Ben Todd keep Kalen Allen out of the rim? Can he keep him away from the rim, make him start to extend that? Because we saw in that Fairfax game, once they made Kalen Allen go to the line, they made him shoot the 3 ball. He wasn't quite as effective, couldn't dominate in the low post like he usually does. So Ben Todd, he's 6'10", doesn't have the body like KJ does. That's going to be a really, really big matchup. Then, of course, the guards. We talk about Jeremiah Turley. We talk about Jordan Brinson. That's going to be a big matchup for those guys over there at El Camino Real. I still have Westchester in this one, but both of these teams are really fundamentally sound, really athletic. I think it's going to be a 4 or 5 point game.
6-3, Gardena the 6, taking on Birmingham on the road. We know that Birmingham gym gets loud. Do you give Gardena any chance?
I mean, they're 24-1, so they have had a chance in every single game that they've been in. They've only lost one of them, but Birmingham is a really hot team. They are on it's like a 6 or 7 game winning streak right now. They are unstoppable. Gardena is hot. Birmingham is hotter. I think Birmingham wins this one handily.
I don't think it's going to be that big of a blowout because I think Gardena has a lot of experience. They got hurt in the D1 playoffs a year ago, getting upset kind of early. I think that's with a lot of those guys. Coach Ernie Carr mentions that in his speeches a lot, and they're 24-1. I think Birmingham's going to win, but don't be surprised if Gardena, maybe they're up early and they give Birmingham a good punch. You mentioned how hot Birmingham is, and there's no hotter team in this city. I agree with you, but I mean Gardena, they're 24-1. So they're
can't stick with that, man.
They're
That's
pretty
great.
good as well. But yeah, Birmingham. Now here's the game where we will disagree, and it's the best game in the Open Division first round. You have Washington, who's number 5, at Taft, who's number 4. I was at the first game between these two teams a few months back, where Taft escaped with a 2-point win. It was a really clutch performance from Diggy Winbush in that game. I have Washington in this one because I think that they're pissed that they don't have a home game. They want revenge on Taft, and I think that revenge factor is going to go a long way.
I think Taft is getting their wheels back underneath them. They had a tough loss against Birmingham in overtime. Then they bounced back. They beat a good El Camino Real team. That Elko team was hungry. They wanted to get back on that Taft team. Taft beats them. They finished the season 17-6. They go on a bit of a winning streak. And they know Washington Prep is going to come in fired up. They know they're going to come in pissed. Nobody's going to be taking them lightly. And I just really like the way Derek Taylor prepares his guys. If they can make the shots, if Demetrius Caleb, Brandon Wilson, Diggy Winbush, if they can make those shots early, because we know they can shoot the 3-ball really, really well. If they do that early, they can bury Washington Prep. I just think this is going to be a great, great close game, and I'm picking the home team.
And Derek Taylor, he's been out sick for a couple games. I believe he'll be back for Friday's game, but the Taft assistant coach, Jordan Farmar's sister, she took over for Taft's last 2 games.
Good lineage.
Yeah, and they ended up winning those games, so that's a great story to see. Very happy to see that. Sorry, Taft, not taking you this game. Again, the revenge factor for Washington is going to be huge. Those guys are so angry. You talk to Javante King and Noel Scott and just those guys down at Washington. They are not happy that they didn't get to host the game, and I think it comes out, and they come out and play really well. Into Division I, so many good games. I want to highlight 4 of these. So Dorsey at Grant, the 9-8. You know the 9-8 is going to be fantastic. Man, great shooters in this game. Dorsey's Reese Dixon and Jalen Carter are great, and then Grant's Daniel O'Neal and Eric Panosian. I think the difference maker in this game, like he is every game, 6'10", Chase Polynice.
Big fella.
For Grant. Is he good enough to take Dorsey down inside? Because Dorsey, they love to shoot the ball on the 3-point arc, and they're not that great down low. Can Chase Polynice take advantage of that and lead Grant to a win? That's the big question. I'm taking the Dorsey Dons because I think Reese Dixon and Jalen Carter are the best players in that matchup. But Chase Polynice is my X factor. I think it's going to be a really, really tight game.
Yeah, I've been as high on Reese Dixon as just about anybody in the city section, but I've got the Lancers of Grant in this game because of how dominant Chase Polynice can be. The issue here we saw with Grant, when they played Granada Hills pressed up on those guards for Grant, and they didn't allow to get the ball down low. If they do, he's a monster. He's averaging 13 points and 15 rebounds a game. He is more dominant than just about any big man in the city section, so he is going to be unstoppable if he's got the ball in his hands. Issue here for Dorsey, can they play good enough defense? They've been blown out in several games here this season. Can they play good enough defense to prevent those passes down low, prevent the entry feeds? I'm not so sure they can. I think Chase has another double-double, and Grant wins this one.
I think first team to 75 wins this one. I don't think there's going to be
not a lot of defense.
Too much defense. So we disagree again there. It's the playoffs, man. That's what happens. So 12 View Park at 5, Sylmar. Alex, I can give you a chance here on the record to correct your pick. Ricky Jamie for Sylmar is hurt, but the Spartans have had a really good year. And even without him, they do have a good shot in this game. But I like View Park. I think they were disrespected with this 12 seed. And the fact that Sylmar doesn't play in a really good league and one of their top guys is hurt makes me think View Park has a great chance. I think View Park might be able to win 2 games. We'll get to that in a little bit. But are you going to stick with Sylmar, or what are your thoughts?
No, now I got some new information. I think I'm going to adjust my pick as much as I hate to do it to Sylmar. Losing your best player.
Yeah, it hurts.
That's going to be really tough. And View Park beat Fremont, a team that I have going all the way. So if I think Fremont is that good, that means View Park must be also pretty much on the same level. Without their best player, Sylmar I think is going to have a hard time. I got View Park as well.
Yeah, and that'll be a fantastic opening round game. I'm so excited for that one. And we're kind of discrediting Sylmar. We'll see if...
Yeah, right. Maybe they're going to be watching this. Be like, you idiots.
Exactly. They have a chance as well, but Ricky Jamie out, I think that really hurts them. 14 Carson at 3 University. We're both going to pick Uni in this, I believe, but Carson, they've been so close in a lot of these games with teams that are on paper better than them, and Damani Sanchez might be probably not the best player in the game because David Cheatham is so good at University, but I think he's right there at number 2. And when he is playing to his ability, he keeps Carson in these games. I think this one's going to be tight. I have Uni, though, winning it because they're at home, and I think they are the better team. But Damani Sanchez, he's not going to let Carson go down easy. I've seen him play a bunch this year. I really like his game. I gave Carson a great shot, but I have Uni in this one.
Yeah, this is a 3 against the 14, so you would expect this game wouldn't be super close. This kind of plays into the Coliseum League getting jobbed, kind of that theme that we were talking about a little bit. Carson they're the 14th. But I think they're a little bit better than that. And Uni, they're the 3. Are they really a 3 seed? Are they really one of the best teams here in Division 1? I don't know, but I do know David Cheatham is an X factor. He is the guy that's going to light it up. He's going to make it all happen. I got Uni just because he might get a triple-double in this game. I got the Wildcats.
You wonder if the selection committee is making up for last year, because I think Uni was like the 3 seed in Division 1 last year. They should have been an open team.
Yeah.
And they made it all the way to the championship, so maybe that's the committee patting them on the back a little bit. And then the last game I want to talk about in Division 1, if there aren't any more that you want to hit on, Van Nuys, 10 at 7,
that's
Fremont.
The big one.
I'm considering going to that one. I might want to hit that game up. Josh Updegraff and Van Nuys, they're pesky. You know, they've been at the top of the Valley Mission League all year. Remember, Van Nuys pretty much lost everyone from that great city section runner-up team in Division 2 a year ago. So great for them to be making this run. They get moved up to Division 1. I think they have a chance against Fremont. I think the fact that this game is at Fremont, we were both at the Fremont-Crenshaw game. It gets so loud in that gym. And I think Chris Bradford and Chris Page are the 2 best players in this game. They're both on Fremont. I think they will Fremont to a win. But, again, I think this is going to be a really high-scoring game. I like the Pathfinders in this one, but you can never write off Evan Porter and Van Nuys.
No, we talked about Sylmar kind of being down a little bit. Van Nuys beat him by almost 20 points. That's concerning if you're Sylmar, and if you're Fremont, you got to look at that and being like, damn, we cannot take Van Nuys lightly. I like Kobe Craig in this game as well, in addition to the 2 Chris's, Page
absolutely.
and Bradford.
Kobe Craig is so good, too.
So those 3 players, I think, will just be a little bit too much for Van Nuys, and what I'm betting on here for Fremont, they're going to get hot. They're going to believe, they're going to get hot, and then they're just going to start having fun. That's when they're going to be a really tough team to stop. We know they can score in bunches. Can they put the clamps on a team? Can they slow a team down? We know Van Nuys likes to score. King Drew, if King Drew gets there and Fremont gets there, that will be a big matchup. We'll talk about that. But for this game, can Fremont get hot? Can they get the buckets, and can they hold on? I got Fremont in this one.
Finally, as we preview some more of these playoff games before we get to the game ball and the dunk of the week, I don't want to surprise you here. I just want to give out my Division 2, 3, 4, and 5
I
picks.
got it.
Okay, beautiful.
I got it.
In Division 3, I like Manual Arts. In Division 2, I like Manual Arts. In Division 3, I like Southeast. In Division 4, I like Jefferson. In Division 5, I like USC Hybrid, who's number 1. Any similar teams
All right,
on there?
yeah, so we're going to disagree on a few, agree on a few more.
Okay.
In Division 2, I like Kennedy. They finished in a 3-way tie.
Bad league.
They finished in a 3-way tie for the league. The other 2 teams made it to Division 1. Kennedy's in Division 2. They're one of the best teams here in Division 2. I like Kennedy a lot.
Manual Arts has been under the radar all year. I think last year they fell short. I think they
Manual Arts was close. I think Kennedy, they're going to shock the world. I think they're going to do it. Division 3, we're going to agree. I think it's Southeast by a mile. There's really not a lot of teams
should have moved up
bracket.
into Division 2 this year, return everyone. They've been a little bit disappointing, I'd say, overall, considering they returned everyone, but they should roll in that bracket.
Maybe just sandbagging to win the Division 3. In Division 4, I got Maywood Academy 9-2. They beat everybody in that bracket. I think they went 5-1 against teams in that bracket. So I think they're going to go all the way, regardless of what Connor says.
Jefferson was so disrespected. The 5 seed in Division 4, they're winning it all.
I think Maywood, they're Maywood Academy. They're the 3 seed.
What is this, Maywood's second year in existence as a school? No,
dude, they got guys. They got guys over there. Maywood Academy, if you're watching this. I got you. He doesn't got you.
And then USC Hybrid, right?
USC Hybrid, the 20-3, they blew out every team they played.
Yeah.
They should move up a division. They're going to cruise to that championship.
Yeah, so we agree there. And I don't want to feel like we're not giving as much time to the other divisions, but it's so hard to keep up with everything.
Many teams.
Once we kind of separate who these top teams are, we'll go more in depth with these smaller divisions. Let's move on to the game ball segment where we discuss some of the top players from the last week of the regular season. We're in agreement on Keith Dinwiddie. One of the best performances, Southern City section all year. 34 points in a rivalry win over Westchester. What else can you say?
Lit the building on fire. 7 of 9 from beyond the arc. Talked to Ethan Anderson. He was like, man, I was just trying to get Keith the ball. The kid was feeling it. So co-game ball for him. We're in agreement. But I think we've got some others on our list.
Absolutely. I know you have a player from Grant.
Chase Pauly Nice. We've talked about him all season long, and I don't think he has a game ball, but the kid averaged a double-double. Down the stretch, he had 30 points and 20 rebounds against Verdugo Hills. He had 14 points and 22 rebounds against Monroe. So the kid's been getting it done all season long. Feel bad we haven't given him a shout-out. So here it is, final game ball of the regular season. Chase Pauly Nice from Grant, it's all you.
As LeBron James would say, sheesh. I have Christian Johnson from View Park. They played Fremont twice last week, and in the first game, View Park won 77-65. And Johnson, who was so great last year for View Park as a freshman, he scored 39 points in that first win over Fremont. Almost got a 40-burger against the Pathfinders. He also
don't see that in high school.
Yeah, he also had 8 rebounds. The kid can score, and that's why I think, I'm sorry, Sylmar, but no way. Christian Johnson is on a mission, and if he goes for that kind of number against Sylmar, look
Good
out.
night.
Yeah, so Chance Pauly Nice, Christian Johnson, and Keith Dinwiddie are the game balls this week. Dunk of the week. Honorable mention goes to KJ Allen, but he throws it down so often.
All the time.
He had
dude,
two
yeah.
nice ones
Devalued.
against. He had two good ones against Fairfax, but I mean, what's great about him is he can like dribble and then dunk it.
Oh yeah, no,
He's
he can
next
go.
to-
He can go from the
Yeah.
floor to the rim. Most guys can't.
Yeah, so we want to shout him out. But then we have two dunks that are very similar. It's two great baseline alley-oops. First at Narbonne, LJ McClain
Nasty.
off a feed and slams it home. And then David Elliott at Birmingham throw a nice pass to Corey Cofield. The plays are almost identical.
Yeah,
He comes
video
up-
quality purposes, I think Birmingham wins this one, but a couple of nasty jumps.
Yeah, and the angle. I mean, the angle for Birmingham gets a little shaky at the end because he gets so excited. You know, oh, awesome.
As you do with the baseline
Yeah.
alley-oop.
But we've seen it again. More people are sending in these
Yeah,
dunks.
keep 'em
and-
coming,
and
baby.
We love it. Chris Page, though, still the leader in the clubhouse.
Dude, a 360 dunk in game, you're not beating that, or at least no one has. Not even close.
You know who would beat it if he played in the city section? The Jaime Jaquez off the backboard.
Oh, yeah.
slams.
Yeah. Well, dude, have you seen some of his teammates? They give him a little lob
Yeah.
on a fast break, and he's catching it, throwing it down. Double tap and triangle in 2K, man. I do that with my brothers.
So there's a little Southern section shout out in the city section video. But these dunks are awesome and gets the crowd going. I'm sure we'll see some in round one of the playoffs. Final thoughts on these playoffs, Alex, as we get started Friday.
Can't wait for the games. So many teams. Hey, if you felt disrespected, you got a chance to make up for it on the court. If you feel like you got a target on your back, you can go and
I know
defend
Silmar
it.
does now.
Yeah, right. Silmar, if you're watching this video, go prove us wrong. Go prove him wrong. He's got View Park going into the next round after they're beating you. So if you're feeling disrespected or if you got a target, go make him show for it.
And as always, when we show up in the gym and we get these picks wrong,
Oh, God,
shove in
we
our
hear it.
face,
Yeah, all
it's
the time.
awesome. One of the best parts of the job. I went
You
to Fremont,
idiots.
yeah, and the Fremont football players were all mad because we picked against them like every week. Nothing was worse than when I had Roosevelt losing in the first round and they made it all the way to the championship. But hey,
yeah.
that's
Rub
just
your
part
nose
of the
in it.
job. Okay, so that's week one of the playoffs. We'll be back next week to discuss everything that happened this past week and preview the second round games. He's Alex Scar. I'm Connor Morissette. We'll see you next time.